Come on, Mowgli. Let's be on our way.
But I'm helping Baloo get ready for hibernation.
Bears don't hibernate in a jungle.
Not full hibernation, but I nap a lot.
Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durban.
And I'm Rhapthorne.
Today, our spoiler talk is The Jungle Book. I'm super excited to get to spoiler talk this movie because, seriously, I didn't know what to expect from the trailers. It looked good, so I expected to go and have a good time.
Sure.
I didn't realize, though, how sucked in I was going to get, how much I was truly going to enjoy and have fun with this movie. And my wife made a point. She goes, you could go into this movie two ways. One, you could put on your critical goggles and find what's wrong, because there are things that are wrong.
Sure.
Or you could put on your fun goggles and enjoy this thing for all that it's worth. And honestly, I forgot the critic goggles. I really did.
Me too.
Yeah.
We saw this in 3D.
Totally worth it. There are some movies not.
Now, my wife is not a 3D movie person. Like, she gets sick to her stomach. Like, she gets motion sickness really easily. So, like, 3D for her is, like, not something that she enjoys. I talked her into seeing this movie in 3D. She said after the movie, I cannot see myself watching this any other way than in 3D. Now, I do have to talk about one part of the movie where Mowgli is up on a cliff. Baloo has talked him into going up to knock off some honeycomb for him. So he's up there and he's trying to use a stick to, like, knock it off. Well, he drops the stick. Now, when he dropped the stick, they show the stick coming towards the center of the screen.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I literally jumped because I felt like that stick was coming right at my face. If you've seen it already and you haven't seen it in 3D, go back and watch it in 3D. It's worth it.
It's so worth it.
It's worth it.
This is a movie worth seeing a second time, in my opinion, either way. But
Absolutely.
for sure, if you missed out on that 3D experience, sorry, that 3D, which stands for $3 extra,
Yeah.
it's worth it for this movie. Just to get that full effect. And this guy, like, he laughs at me because I flinch in movies. I wish I was there with him in that particular showing to watch him flinch in a movie. That would have been awesome.
Totally did. It was awesome. Now, Jon Favreau.
Oh, my goodness. That's how you pronounce his last name?
Yeah, Favreau.
I said Fuvuru.
Fuvuru?
Well, it looks...
It's
no
Favreau.
disrespect, John. I love Iron Man 1 and 2, and I loved this movie.
Yeah. Great job, sir. Oh, my gosh. Very well written, well directed.
Oh, my goodness.
This movie, now, myself, I'm a big purveyor of Disney movies.
Yes.
I used to live in really close to Anaheim. I was 8 miles away from Disneyland, had season passes. We went
Nice.
3-4 times a week. Sometimes we go and just walk around. So for me, Disney is where it's at.
Oh,
for
yeah.
me. I love Disney. I love The Jungle Book. I grew up watching The Jungle Book. Love everything about it. Now, what I did like is that they didn't turn this into a musical
That was nice.
like every Disney movie typically is.
But what was cool, when they brought the song Bare Necessities in there, I liked how they did it. Because it wasn't like, we're going to turn this into a musical all of a sudden. It was Mowgli and Baloo walking through the jungle, and he's humming the Bare Necessities. Now, I thought that was going to be the extent of it. And Mowgli's like, what are you doing? I'm singing. What's singing? You don't know what singing is?
Yeah.
Then it becomes this whole lesson in singing where Mowgli learns to let go and enjoy life.
Yeah.
And then they're on the river. And Mowgli's riding him like you see in that trailer and drumming on him. And he's drumming because they're all out singing. I mean, it is. I mean, you hear the band in the background. I mean, it is the song. But it's just the way they wrote it. It didn't transform it into a musical. Mm-hmm. It was just this fun, carefree scene where the song fit. And it was so good.
But it felt like two friends just singing a song.
Oh, yeah.
Like it didn't feel like it was two friends singing a song.
And suddenly we all know the lyrics because it's a musical.
Right? It felt like two friends, like me and him, just walking around the house.
Only I can't sing.
Oh, the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
It was so good. I mean, to me, that was one of my highlighted scenes.
Yeah.
There's another scene, though, where they were almost started to sing. And I actually kind of enjoyed it. It was when you meet King Louie. And I used to grow up on that cartoon. I know. I grew up on the cartoon, but I don't remember it that much. But there's 3 things I remember from the cartoon. Bare Necessities, Ka the Snake and his hypnotic eyes, and King Louie singing, ooh, ooh, I want to be like you, ooh. Now, what I liked is the way they did it, like when Mowgli is meeting King Louie, you know, you start to hear the band ramp up in the back, and at first I was like, oh no, is he going to sing? Are they going to try to turn this into a musical? But then it's just, I don't know what happened to me. Something just kind of changed. And when he started to hum the bars a little bit, but didn't really finish the song, he just sang it a tad, and then they moved on. I actually rather liked it, because for me, it kind of rose up the nostalgia factor. It reminded me of that scene in the cartoon just enough, but it didn't totally take it to musical land. And so to me, it hit the right stuff. It hit the nostalgia. You remember this? Isn't this awesome? Okay, back to movie. And I don't know, for me, that was kind of nice. I enjoyed it, and Christopher Walken had a better voice than I thought he'd have, so I kind of enjoyed it. You didn't, did you?
I hated it.
Why did you hated it?
I hated it.
How could you have hated it?
So, going back to the original song, listening to the way King Louie sang it, you know, it's a classic song, okay? He did not enunciate his ooh rather than ooh, 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 me, e, like Christopher Walken did. Now, mind you, loved the scene altogether. I love this King Louie. He's huge. He's monstrous.
He's like bigger
He's
than
the
life.
bad guy of this part of the film. My thing was, while he was singing, if you listen to the cartoon version, it's, you know, I want to be like you. And then the monkeys would back him up. Shoop-a-doo-be-doo-wee, or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
That's what because I grew up with it, that's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
It was like this jazzy, like, you know, we're singing, you know, whatever. Whereas this one, it was just like, it felt empty when he was singing it to me. I don't know.
I get where you're coming from,
Yeah,
but the reason that I still disagree is because I feel like if they had filled it and had the monkeys back them up and everything, then this is a weird, not musical movie that has randomly 2 points where it breaks into song. And so
yeah.
I just like that they didn't quite do that. Like for me, it was, I got just enough that it was a tease and it rose the nostalgia factor without breaking the fact this is not a musical, you know?
But
without,
I mean, even if they would have done something little, like something in the music maybe.
Maybe.
Like have an instrument do that backup portion of it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I don't know. I felt like they missed the mark on that particular scene. Agree to disagree?
Let's agree to disagree. But one thing we can disagree on is the flippin' elephants, right? They didn't even talk. But, like, there's, like, this legend built up behind the elephants that because of their strength and their noses and their power, that they shaped the jungle. Like, they shaped where the trees were going to grow, the way they would move things and seeds would move.
They
shaped
the
yes.
jungle.
And there's just this majesticness where Bagheera says, Mowgli, the elephants, bow your head. Show them respect. And that was just really cool. Which built up to this scene where Mowgli is all depressed because Bagheera wants him to stop being all inventive and go back to the Man-cub village. And Baloo's like, no, be inventive and help me get honey. And let's hang out and have fun and stuff like that. So, you know, Mowgli's in the throes of this decision and feeling bad because nobody wants him to be all creative and inventive. Then the elephants are standing around this pit and Mowgli creates this thing with vines and he's able to help, you know, by tying around the tusk of the yellow elephant, pull up the baby elephant that fell into the pit. And so, like, the elephants, like, come to this, like, awe and respect for Mowgli as Mowgli has this awe and respect for them. And that was, you know, I'm not going to use this term a whole lot, but for me, it was one of the most beautiful scenes in the movie because there were no lines. Yeah. It was no talking at all. Baloo and Bagheera were watching. The elephants that first wanted to chase Mowgli away, but he bowed. He made the invention, got the baby out. It was just the way it was all put together. It was just such a great scene.
What I really liked about that scene too was after that happened, they didn't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were like, whoa, man, great job, you know? He just walks back and he's all, hey, guys.
Yeah.
And walks by.
The story literally just went onward. But then the way they brought it back was the very end of the movie. Yeah. So after this amazing Shere Khan Mowgli fight, we'll get into that in a little bit, but after this amazing fight, the jungle's on fire, you get to watch the elephants reshape the jungle. by ripping out trees, building a dam, sending the water to the fire, and putting it all out. And it's like the elephants did this as a favor, not just to save the jungle, but because of their respect for Mowgli, because of what Mowgli did for them. And so it was cool, and I would have been happy if that pit scene was it and no more. Like, I got enough of the elephants that I was happy. But it just was awesome the way it all came back to the elephants there at the end. Part of this movie's greatness was the storytelling. The other part of it was the directing. But for sure, the huge chunk of it was the actors and the way they performed this. And how most of this was voice performances.
Oh, yeah.
And just how their voices and how they performed it. I mean, Mowgli, first off. I don't know if somebody was in a motion capture suit around this kid, but I think this was his first movie.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Great job.
That kid was so likable.
Yeah.
So likable.
It felt like he was more just happy, friendly, you know. It was like he was just like, it didn't feel like a movie.
Yeah.
Like it didn't feel scripted to me. Like he was just
some places he felt like a smart aleck kid.
Yeah. It was great.
It was amazing.
He did a really, really good job. Really
Idris Elba as Shere Khan. So the basic story of this movie: dry season, Peace Rock comes out of the water because the water level goes down. It's a signal to all the animals: don't eat each other. This is a time of peace. Shere Khan shows up. Everybody's scared of Shere Khan, but he respects the jungle law. He notices Mowgli's there. He has this raw hatred for mankind, mostly because of Mowgli's father, which is a very interesting backstory, which they didn't go into much. There might be a sequel with the father in the cave with little baby Mowgli, and, you know, Mowgli's dad chased Shere Khan out with a fire. And I think, did he eat Mowgli's dad? Yeah, he ate Mowgli's dad. But still, he got burned by Mowgli's dad.
Well,
So
didn't eat him, but he killed him.
there you go.
Yeah.
So basically, Shere Khan has it out for this kid because the kid's father burned up half of his face, and now he wants to finish the kid. So he respects the jungle law, and he goes, when it rains, you deliver the kid to me. It rains. They try to send the kid to the man village. So what does Shere Khan do? He goes back to the wolves that raised Mowgli and kills Mowgli's dad wolf. Shere Khan, Akela. He just walked up to Akela like, we're going to have a talk. All right, talk to him. And throws him off the cliff, and it's like,
well, they have a talk. He sits down and he's watching all the other wolves and they're chatting, and he's like, I thought I told you to deliver him to me. He's not under our protection. Our quarrel is done. And he stands up and he starts to walk away, and then he says something. I don't remember what he says. I don't either. But he immediately turns around, he grabs Akela and throws him off of the cliff.
It was so emotionally like, what just happened?
It was like there was no big fight scene. It was just like, ha, ha, ha.
It was almost worse than if there was a fight scene. Just that, it's like something gets ripped out of you in that moment.
The shock factor in that scene was very well done.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, I was just like...
And then Shere Khan like tells these other birds and stuff, spread the word that this happened so that it'll draw Mowgli back for like vengeance. And I thought that was a brilliant plan to try to do that to bring Mowgli back. So now you have this added thing of Bagheera finds out, Baloo finds out, but they're not going to tell Mowgli because, well, Baloo wanted Mowgli to stay with him, but when he found out it was Shere Khan, Baloo's like, oh, fart. Okay, we do got to get him to the man village. That would not have worked without somebody like Idris Elba performing that. And the way he performed the voice of that, and the way the animation was, like the way they had the tiger look mixed with his performance, it all like melded together so well that it was this truly awesome villain in this story. I don't remember the cartoon that well, but I feel like in the cartoon, there was no Shere Khan until about towards the end, like the third act of the film, suddenly there's this tiger. Am I right?
No.
Okay, I'm wrong. See, that's how little I remember the cartoon. Either way, it was awesome in this movie to see that be this binding glue of the story, and oh my gosh. And he was creepy, man. I mean, there's one point where the pups are hanging out with Shere Khan, and he's telling them a story, and you're just sitting there like, oh my gosh, this is why you don't take candy from strangers.
Yeah. Dude, he was the perfect villain.
Yeah. You know the other perfect villain?
Wow.
Scarlett Johansson.
Holy cow.
Oh my gosh.
Like, okay, so, you know, seeing the cartoons, Ka, you feel like is a male.
Yeah.
I believe.
It was a male voice.
Right.
Yeah.
So, hearing a female's voice for Ka, for me, was like, okay, well, let's see where they go with this. But her voice was so soothing and trust in me, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And she did kind of sing that little part. But what was cool about it is, you know, the cartoon, Carl's eyes get all weird colored because he's all hypnotic.
Yeah.
It happened in this movie, but it wasn't like cartoony though.
Oh.
But it's like I was staring at its eyes like,
Yeah, right? I was like, wow, they made it work.
they made it work. And then she starts to tell Mowgli the story of Shere Khan killing his father. I don't know where she was or how she would know that, but I don't care. She knows. How does she know? And then all of a sudden, the movie pans back out, and he's in her coils.
Yeah.
And it's like, ah! I wanted Caw to come back. I really did. Like, it was so well done. But then if you think about it, they did that right then, because leave your audience wanting more, not wishing they hadn't gotten so much. Yeah. And so that scene left me wanting more of that.
So good.
Yes.
Overall, like, the inventiveness of Mowgli throughout this movie was absolutely amazing. So
he made tools.
Yeah, so from the beginning, you know, they're trying to get Mowgli to not be a man. Trying to not let him use things as if a human would.
Yeah.
So the first scene where we see this is at the Peace Rock, where he has this shell
tied to a rope.
Art
vine.
Throws it out into the water, pulls it back, and drinks from it, rather than going down and drinking direct from the water source as a wolf would do. So it starts there, and it's like, Bagheera and the wolf pack both, they're like, do not use your tricks, is what they call it.
Yeah. And then you got Baloo.
Who's
like, yeah, use it to get me honey. But then they become like genuine friends after that. But it's like, at first it's selfish.
Yeah.
But then it's like, Baloo likes his inventiveness. And Baloo encourages him, you're not a wolf. Don't be a wolf. But then finally at the end, that Shere Khan fight, man.
Yeah.
First off, that was amazing. Where Mowgli gets so mad when he finds out that his wolf Akela is dead, that he runs to the man village to get the red flower, the fire, and he carries the torch, but embers are falling, so it catches the jungle on fire, and he goes to fight Shere Khan with the fire. Yeah. But then in the process, he sees now all of the animals are scared of him, and not just Shere Khan. So Shere Khan actually just won. So he throws away the fire, and then all the animals come to his aid to help him in this fight. Then he has to fight him on his own, and he uses the inventiveness to save the day, because finally Bagheera stops him, and he goes, don't do it. And he's like, why? I want to fight. He goes, do not fight like a wolf. Fight like a man.
Yeah. Well, it was great because, Baloo and Shere Khan had this pretty epic fight.
It was epic.
And then once Baloo loses that fight, then, the wolf pack's like, wolf pack attack, and everybody starts running, and so does Mowgli. He's like, yeah, I'm coming. And that's when Bagheera, he lunges on him, and he's like, no. And Mowgli's like, but I want to fight. I want to fight like the wolves. And he's all, do not fight like the wolf. Fight like a man.
Now, what was interesting about the ending of this movie, I remember this in the cartoon. He saw the pretty girl, and he followed her into the village.
Yes.
But this movie, he ran to the village to get the fire, but never returned. It ends with him in the jungle. And so because they didn't complete the story of the dad, why was the dad and him alone in the jungle to begin with, and things like that, I think that's meant to be open for a sequel.
I would have given this 5 stars had the King Louie scene been better. But I'm only going to give it 4.5.
Okay.
So 4.5 stars for me. The half a star, and it's really only a half a star because as much as I hated it, it was still a great scene.
Yeah.
Like when King Louie stands up, when you could tell the first time in a very, very long time because his hair was stuck to the stone. So when he got up, it pulled out a lot of his hair, and his hair's still there on the stone. Yeah. That whole scene, it was still really good. I'm only going to give it 4.5 stars. Just because of that. Overall, completely enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
Would absolutely go and see it again. If anybody here's watching in the area and needs to go with somebody, pick me.
Yep.
I will go and see it with you.
I ended up giving this movie 4 stars. And it's funny because I kept debating things back and forth in my head because, yeah, there's a few issues with it. Like, there's this wildebeest scene where Mowgli's in this wildebeest montage and Shere Khan's trying to get him, and I immediately went, The Lion King.
Yeah.
And the firefight at the end, there were moments where I was like, oh yeah, like when Simba and Scar were fighting in the fire, so there were a few moments like that, but I mean, that didn't ruin anything for me. So in the end, I ended up giving it 4 stars, but it's also because I like to be careful about that 5th star. But just know, I loved this movie, and I would go see it again, like, right now. Like, I thought it was good. I'm definitely going to buy it on Blu-ray, and it's going to be a movie that when I want something to make me feel good, I'm going to pop this in. So, 4 out of 5 stars from me.
You know what?
What?
Maybe we should go watch it again.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
Let's go watch it right now.
We're-
So I tell you what.
Yep.
Down in the comment section below, let us know what you thought.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yep, that.
And check us out on Facebook and Twitter.
Let's do that.
Thanks for checking out Durbania.
Yep.
We're going to go watch the movie
Goodbye.
again. All right, see ya.